Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, I will going to explain you some basics of field that is available in your Primavera P6, and you generally use these fields more frequently. Okay, so without further ado, let's just get started. So this is the activity interface that you are seeing. Okay, and here there is a activity ID. So what is activity ID? Activity ID is the ID which is given to your activity name so that you can identify your activity with a unique activity ID. And for example, your activity ID is something A100, you're already aware of it, so you don't need to like look for it entire schedule. I mean, this schedule is very short, but for example, if you have a very detailed and a long schedule, in that case you should have a unique activity ID, and you just click Control F, and then you can paste it here, your activity ID, and then you can just find it. So this is the use of activity ID, and you can like change your activity ID. You can just select and then click right here. You can see renumbering activity ID, so you can renumber accordingly. For example, you need to give a auto number, you need to give a prefix ABC, or any of the reporting that you're using. You can choose your suffix, increment value. So this is a thing that you can do. Okay. So next is this activity name. So the activity name, we are already aware of it. Like once we have a WBS, we need to give activities to those WBS. And then we have this original duration. So what is original duration? Original duration is the time that you have planned at the baseline stage. Okay, so for example, when you go to the status tab, okay, here you can see original, actual, remaining, add, complete. So original is the time that you have planned, actual is the time when you start updating your progress. You need to give a actual duration. Okay, and then remaining duration, I mean, this software will automatically calculate the remaining duration, or if you want to further increase the remaining duration, you can do that. And then you will see your art complete, which is actual plus remaining. Okay. Then you can see what is total float. So the total float is the amount of time you can delay a activity without delaying your project finish date, which is your 17th of August. Okay. And what is free float? Free float is the activity which you can delay but without delaying your successor activity. For example, A1 has a free float 0, so you can't delay any of the activity. And but A2 has also a zero free float, A3 also zero, but this is something which has 43 float, so its successor is nothing. That's why it's showing as 43. Okay, so this activity can be delayed because this has no successor. But for example, some activity has a successor, so in that case, what it means is you can delay that successor activity with a 55 days. Okay, without further delay. Like we can't delay 56, 57, 50 more than 55, otherwise the successor activity would also get delayed. Okay, then this is a started and the finish. This is the field which you will use when you start updating your project. Okay, now I will explain what are constraint. Okay, so we have primary constraint and the secondary constraint. So we generally see look at this primary constraint. So there are n numbers of constraint which is available in your P6. So this is a question that when you are having or when you're giving any interview, they will also going to ask. So they in the constraint, there are two types of constraint. One is the hard constraint. Okay, and then second is the soft constraint. So what is the meaning of hard constraint? So hard constraint are the constraint that will not allow your connected activities to automatically moved. Okay, but the soft constraint are the software, even if there is a delay, that activity that is already connected with this constraint will move. So you can't you don't need to manually go and update. But in the hard constraint, you need to have a record and also update it manually. But generally we avoid using constraints, because what constraint does is like it will not allow your software to calculate or automatically schedule if there is any delay. Okay, so if you can see, as late as possible, finish on is a hard hard constraint, finish on or after is a on or after, and on or before is a soft constraint. Then mandatory finish, mandatory start, start on, finish on, these are all hard constraint. And the soft constraint are finish on or after, finish on or before, start on or after, and start on or before. These are your soft constraint. Okay, now the duration type. So here I will going to explain you what is duration type. So when you scroll down, you will see there are four types of duration. One is fixed duration and units, other one is fixed duration and units per time, then fixed units, and then fixed units per time. So we generally use fixed duration and units per time. Fixed duration is like we know this activity has this duration, and we also know this activity has a units per time. For example, this activity has a resource, and that resource works at a unit per time. So for example, that a resource would work at a $180 per hour. So that means that $180 per hour is the units per time. But in case if you are aware of like for example, there are few like activities which has fixed duration, and you know the fixed units of that, so you can use fixed units. Fixed units means you know this activity would take 70 hours, regardless of any resource assigned or any resource who can work on an hourly rate. Okay, so this is the fixed durations and units. Then fixed units, so for example, you don't know the duration anything, but you have like fixed units, you know like this activity would take 80 hours, or if you know like this activity can work at a 180 hour per $180 per hour, then in that case, so we generally use this fixed units per time duration, and then fixed duration and units, so that Primavera P6 calculate. So next is percentage type. So in Primavera P6 you will see there are three types of percentage. One is duration, physical, and unit. So this percentage type will help you to calculate your on value analysis, then your CPI, cost performance index, schedule performance index. In my next videos I will going to explain you what are this EVM, because this is very useful for tracking. So for example, for the earned value calculation we generally use a physical percentage type. We don't take the duration percentage type or the units percentage type, we just get physical. So because physical is the type, the percentage type which you can update on a manual basis, but if you select this duration and the units, so this Primavera P6 itself calculate based on how you are updating your progress. Okay, so for example, you are selecting the duration, so and once you're starting updating your progress, so based on your original duration and the remaining duration, Primavera pieces automatically calculate how much duration percentage has been completed. Okay, uh, so next thing, predecessor and successor, as you're already aware of, if you're not, I can explain it. Predecessor is the, I mean, for example, this A2 is the activity, we would need to give a predecessor. Predecessor is when this activity A2 can start. So we need to give a predecessor, and successors after, I mean, which activity can start after the completion of A2. So basically, predecessor is the activity which we need to start this A2, and successor is the activity which can be start after A2 complete. Okay, so this is successor. So next is the data dates. You should also be aware of this data date. So when you schedule on, I mean, when you click on this schedule, you will see a data date. So data date is the date when you are updating your progress. For example, when you are having a baseline, so you select a data date as a baseline date, and then you prepare a baseline schedule. And then when you have already have baseline and you started progressing your project, then you need to select the data date, so that the activity which was not completed up to that time can automatically update as per your data date. Okay, now there is an option available here. Here if you can see, there's other things like when scheduling progress activity. So there are three types of scheduling to be progress. One is retain logic, other is progress override, then next is the actual dates. So we always keep this retain logic checked, because I mean, we don't need a progress. What is the progress override? So progress override is like so no matter whatever percentage or whatever physical work is done. For example, there is a predecessor activity, okay, and there is a successor activity, okay, and with I mean your predecessor activity has not started, but your successor activity has already started. So what progress override does is this will automatically allow the system to calculate and rebuild your logic from the successor activity which is already started. But so we don't use that progress override generally, so we just use this retain logics. What retain logic is, it will not going to impact any of the logic in your schedule. It will going to be as it is, as you have assigned in the baseline. And but you just need to update your progress, and then primary pieces automatically calculate all of your schedule as per your baseline logic. So we generally use this retain logic. So you should also, there is an interview question you will going you will going to face, what are the scheduling progresses. So you can say like retain logic, progress override, and the actual date. So actual dates are just a manual, like you are just updating a actual date. So there is no use of actual dates. Why you would need this Primavera P6, or you can just do in the Excel if you need to do with the actual date. So we generally use with this retain logic, okay. Then for the critical activities, there are two types of things that you can have a critical activity. One is the total float, second is the longest path. So whatever you want to do, you can just do it, select on the longest path or the total float, okay. So this is the thing, and then we should close this. Yeah, now next thing is I would like to explain you what are baseline. So if you can go and here, first you need to click on maintain baseline. So for example, this is a project and you need to create a copy of this baseline, okay, so that my all of the date gets saved. So I'm just giving as a initial planning, and this is a project baseline, okay. And then I'm just closing it. So this is the first step. Next step is assign baseline. So you need to assign baseline. So if you can see, there are project baseline, there's a primary baseline, there is a secondary baseline, there is a tertiary. So there are four types of baseline that you can apply, but you can maintain n number of baseline in Primavera P6, okay. There's no restriction of like in like we are having restrictions in Microsoft project where we can only have 10 number of baselines. So what you need to do is uh just click on three dots and then add, this is my project baseline, okay. And this primary baseline is like for the monthly update. For example, this is a project baseline which is set up at the initial stage, and client also want to see what was your previous month baseline. So in that case, what you can do is now, whenever you update your progress, just make a copy of your, so I can explain you. So this is the project baseline. So for example, I have updated my project, okay. So I will go to again maintain baseline, then add, okay, and then I'll add a copy of same. I will click this, okay, and instead of project baseline, I will give as a previous month baseline, okay, previous month. Then close, okay. And when you go to assign baseline, you can just click on this previous month, okay, and then okay. So you have assigned your BL project baseline and then BL1. So there BL, BL1, BL2, BL3. BL2 is secondary, BL3 is tertiary. Okay, so what you and now I will explain you how you can see these things. Let me just hide all of this stuff. And when we go to dates, um so here are the dates. So if you can see, you have this project, BL project start, BL project finish, then you have BL1, BL 1 finish, then BL1 start, okay. And then if you want to see variances, so here are so variance to project BL finish date, and the variance to project BL1 finish date, okay. And then move up, okay, okay. So here you can see, so this is your initial baseline which is BL. Right now all of the dates are same because we have not updated, but once we start updating it, the start and finish would be your forecast dates. This BL project BL start and finish would be your initial baselining, and then BL1 start and the BL1 finish would be your previous month baseline, okay. And then from here you can see the variances. For example, this has planned from 25th to 29th of May, and you have started on 25th, but this was finished on 30th, okay. So your baseline variance to BL would be 1, Okay. And for example, earlier previous month you have like assigned, like you have estimated like on 30th May it would get finished, but when you progress you find that you found that it finished on 2nd of June. So that variance would also calculate BL. So it will add additional 3-4 days in BL, and for the previous month it will be like less than 4-5, which is 2 days or 3 days. Okay, so this is the use of this variance. So I think I think you must, I mean, if you are going through these videos, your, I mean, basics would also clear, because these are the things which you will be asked in your interviews, because they will not going to ask you to do something practically, but you should be aware of all of these fees, because these are the fees which we generally use in Primavera P6. So if you are liking my video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.